he is working for the Media Lab of MediaMonks here in Hilversum, but a worldwide company. And in the lab there are just toying around and playing around with different things. And one of the things they played around with is video calls, video communication. Joe, tell us first. MediaMonks we know, but what is MediaMonks Lab and what do you do there?
So, not about 2 years ago, MediaMonks started a labs program, which is essentially what labs is we are looking at technology in a new light. So what we do is we do research and development into emerging technologies like machine learning, voice, AR, VR. And we try to push the boundaries of them and look at these new frameworks in a new light and see is there a creative light we can shed on this to look at new avenues of looking at tech. And through this COVID time, we started looking at WebRTC and machine learning and seeing if we could start building like a new canvas around these conference calls, which we're now like bound to every day. A lot, and this is exactly how this project was brought about. Is sitting around the room, kind of like constantly on these calls, and I'm thinking, I was like, there's a missed opportunity for interactivity, and we've been working with these machine learning models like Tensorflow, and we wanted to see if we could just basically see if it could happen. And
okay. Shall we have a look? Shall we have a look first, and then you explain?
This video I'm about to play was our first integration into Zoom, and we'll talk about the round two of. We are going to be presented with an object which will be in this little window, and then you're just going to have to run around your house and find it. Carrot!
Not that healthy.
Wine glass! Oh, damn. Only one that's broken. Oh, damn it. Oh,
You die so fast. I just closed one.
Give me. Damn it! Yeah. Umbrella. Oh, I don't have an umbrella. Yeah! She's just messing up. Eric's still going to get broccoli.
He just left.
Here's the cell phone. Look. Oh.
I just got my broccoli.
I think, apart from the fact that it's super funny, I think the whole video communications, and I mean, I'm from the world of events, so everybody like me in this world is completely obsessed at the moment with video communications and how it works and what you can do with it and how you can make them better and so forth. But tell me again, so how does it work? Really from a practical point of view, what did you do to make this, and I'm just assuming everybody understands the game, right? You see a word, you go grab what looks like it, and you get the point if it's correct. So.
Yeah. So there's a framework called Tensorflow. That's made by Google. And what Tensorflow does is it offers like machine learning models that people can use or build new ones. And this specific type of machine learning algorithm is called object detection. And so what we're able to do is we load in, for everybody who signs on to this app, it loads in this specific model of object detection, which detects about 50 different objects, the things that we knew that were going to be around the house, like broccoli, umbrellas, TVs, toilets, what have you. And so when the camera, and so these algorithms are taught these objects by seeing 10,000 different images of that specific one. So if that image can take many different forms with different backgrounds, the camera can still recognize it. So when someone goes and gets, any various piece of broccoli, it's going to know, the machine is going to be like, okay, that's a broccoli, assign a point. And so it kind of goes round and round, around this. And the idea was this, that landed on this object detection is how do we get these people who are sitting behind their computers, not able to go outside on lockdown, to run around their house, have a laugh with people, and start getting that human connection which we're all been kind of striving for. Because whether it was in the office or whether you're at home with your friends or going to get a beer or something, it's like you have this exchange and you walk around and you share things with each other, and this posed a really cool new opportunity to have this shared connection of the human condition.
Now this is, everybody can now use it, right? Because you launched a website where everybody can go out and play.
Exactly.
What is the name again? Oh, sorry, I've got it here somewhere, but I didn't write it down.
I can put it in the chat right now.
Yeah, put it in the chat so people later on can play the game with the family or the. But how easy or difficult is it to combine this object detection kit with Zoom on the other end?
So this first iteration, which you saw with Zoom, was actually a bit of a workaround because we were trying to pitch this idea to them to have like a games tab or something, and we were hoping to more integrate it into their system, but we never got there. But essentially, what we created is we created a web app that loads this machine learning model into every single person that signs on the web app, and then what we do is we create something called using WebSockets. We had a server that basically sent all the game logic to these WebSockets on the server, and then it would take all the video data from there, send it up to a server, and then bring it down to each and every person's computer. So what we did on that specific one is we just shared that web app in the window so everybody could see it.
Yeah.
The current one, to which I just posted inside of the chat, is a completely standalone WebRTC integrated platform. So you don't need to use Zoom or Meet. You can just hop in there, and it'll connect all the video and do all the game logic right there.
Yeah. So and the fact that we all stare into our laptops and webcams and share all this video and backgrounds means that there must be a lot more that you can do with this, right? And especially if you have emotion recognition, object recognition, person recognition. Are there other ideas you're working on?
Yeah, the sky's the limit here, which is kind of the beautiful thing that I've realized, and that's why I was saying before is this video conference has become kind of a new creative canvas for developers and especially for me. And we are working out and planning on some new games that go through pose detection. So we're essentially it's another machine learning model that can look at a person's pose and basically draw in a skeleton. And so by being able to draw in a skeleton gives the user's ability, the computer, the ability to know exactly how you're standing, what you're doing when you're standing, and all that, and multiple people in one screen. So that means that if you wanted to get someone in front of the screen and do like a monkey dance or strike a specific pose, it's able to calculate what you're doing. So you could do like handstand competitions or anything like that.
So the sky's the limit, as you say. I immediately also start to think of all kinds of interesting games or interactions you could design. But this is part of the lab. So you basically are trying things out, but as you mentioned, you already were thinking why don't we get Zoom involved themselves to do something with it? Where will this take you? Is this an area that you think games around video communications? How are we going to make a brand out of it?
I see this being able to. I think this can start, especially in times like this, it could start to be a very interesting platform for brands to come to and to showcase events where I'm trying not to name certain brands, where people can basically, one, show off their products, two, get some kind of hype around it, and so location becomes non-specific anymore because anybody can hop in from anywhere and view some kind of exposition or anything like that, which also kind of brings me to a lot of interesting work that MediaMonks has been working on through virtual spaces, especially when it comes to conferences and.
You just announced a big cooperation last week, right? With NGO from the Netherlands to come up with new virtual ways to meet online.
Yeah,
online and in real space.
Yeah, exactly. And we've been working through a lot of like basically tools that we're building for nonverbal communication, especially when it comes to trying to voice your opinion when you really can't say anything, but maybe like say hello or pass the mic to somebody. But also creating avenues for media events and press opportunities, and the strategic maneuvers to create buzz and hype around specific events. Because we're now sitting up in our living room behind a screen as opposed to like interacting with people, and so we need to create these abilities where people feel will want to stay there and exchange information and talk to each other. So we've been thinking about like how does a brand feel represented at a virtual event, and that might they need to feel like they're that they're represented there. So being able to create spaces for these brands to sit there and to have the opportunity for people to walk in and have that experience when you're sitting at a stand or exchanging a business card.
And we're going to take some questions, but when it comes to that we need a new language, I mean, I've commented on this before elsewhere, but we need a new sign language to begin with so that we can communicate without having to unmute ourselves. And I think the very first word we need to have a universal language for is actually unmute. Unmute. We have to constantly tell each other to unmute. But no, and it's true. Just show. I mean, there's been some experiments with people saying, "Okay, wait fast for yes and no, go slow for no," or try to do things with lights or interactions and so forth. I think it's super interesting space. But let's have a look at the people that have questions. Young Kater asks, is it possible to make your own game yourself?
You mean in a video conference setting? Yes, absolutely. So there are limitations to specific types of things, but there's always ways of working around those. Because when it comes
to, you need to know a fair bit of programming and know how to deal with Tensorflow and object detection kits.
Yeah, there's no platforms which, if you don't know how to code, you can't necessarily start creating stuff around that. But the thing is, the sky is the limit. But it's like, let's say like you need to be adding graphics to your screen. It's and you're hosting this through a server, and you have to exchange all those graphics to each and every screen. You're going to have speed issues. So things using shader technology and the WebGL to get around those speed tests is kind of like the answer here. So optimization is a big key to doing that, and we've been working on some face detection and some face detection for a video conference as well. So you can edit the background and drop out audio or insert specific specific interactions inside of this thing. Kind of like some of the stuff you've been seeing out in social media here and there. There was somebody who made the Pong game.
Yeah. It's a Dutch artist who made that one.
Exactly. These are really cool creative ideas that are starting to come out of the woodworks. That are really interesting.
And also, I think people. At least I went into. Was playing Trivial Pursuit over Zoom with some people, and you think like, where's the screen with the score? Can we have a roll of the dice which is automated in a way? There's all kinds of tools that people are thinking of that are now not there. Planned on these platforms. That will come up. Two people are a bit worried about, having that video coming from your living room. Is that GDPR proof? The video, what are you doing with it? Do you use video to the system?
Everything is completely private on so the machine learning algorithm gets loaded onto the screen. The video never goes up to the server. Everything is hosted through this WebRTC platform, which enables to have privacy. So no one's ever taking any video anywhere.
Yeah, and I also think that you basically work with open source software, right? The whole object. This is not something you develop yourself. You pull together some resources and then make it into a new service.
WebRTC is the video conference open source tool that is used here.
Because, for instance, the city of Amsterdam just released. They have a detection kit for things in public space or out in the streets, and they just release it for any city to use. I mean, these things are shared by large groups of people. It's also, I think, why innovation is going so fast.
Yeah, exactly. The greatest thing about having these open source tools is is the creativity that the user base brings to it. And that's that's kind of in a nutshell a lot of what we do at Labs.
A last question on the labs itself. I mean, well, I've got 100 questions, but first of all, how many people work at Labs at MediaMonks? Is it only in Hilversum or is it spread around the world? And what other technologies are you at the moment looking at? What is new tech that you are really enthusiastic about?
So currently there are 4 people that are on Labs full time in Hilversum.
4? Yeah. Something like 40 or 400. 4 people. Okay, now even more impressive.
But we have another guy in New York who's like half time and it works on very specific types of
4.5. Okay.
Yeah, 4.5. Currently, we're diving deep into machine learning and trying to figure out new and interesting ways to use it in a creative light, and also how those work in a professional environment. How do we offer them to our clients, and what does an offer look like? Because machine learning these days is it's a big question mark. Because let's say you want something very specific. It's hard to know exactly what you're going to get at in the end. We had one company that we were working with called Ox on a Bell, and as you might know, it's a train company, and we have a released app with them that uses a machine learning algorithm that we built to recognize paint effects. And so they had this issue of it's very hard for the customers to recognize exactly what it is. So Ox on a Bell needs to send a specific person to go check it out. So what we did is we synthesized this machine learning data by creating a computer program that we built to specifically look at very specific types of paint effects, and we're able to generate tens of thousands of variations on each paint effect at one time to teach our algorithms.
Yeah.
So now, when users use this app, they can use it and then be able to identify a paint effect on the fly. So this is one application to which went to a more
goes to the business and which becomes commercial. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, if somebody asks what's the business model, MediaMonks always works for other parties and brings the tools and the ideas and the creativity that they then use for their brands, right?
Yeah, like Labs business model is very much like it's a sales. It's definitely a sales useful sales tool for bringing in like new types of clientele.
I'm afraid that's all we have time for. We're coming up to the end of the super interesting stuff, and I think the combination machine learning, video communications, there's a lot that will happen, and we'll be following this. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Be there.